If you're looking to land a machine learning or data science internship in 2025, here are the 5 principles I would follow. The market is extremely competitive right now, so these won't guarantee success, but they will maximize your chances. Let's get into recommendation number 1, which is to gain research experience at your university. I promise that if you email every single professor at your school, at least one will give you a chance. Okay, don't actually email every single professor, since you'll want to personalize each email and show a genuine interest in their research. But if you email as many professors as possible, you'll maximize your chances of at least one professor having an open spot in their lab. Before you email a researcher, take a look at their personal website and a couple of their most recent papers. I recommend skimming over the paper to see if it interests you, and don't worry if you don't understand everything discussed. The paper likely contains specific concepts that are relevant to the professor's specific concentration of research, so you won't be expected to already be familiar with all the terminology. Using ChatGPT to summarize the paper in simple terms could also be a worthwhile strategy so that you can more easily find out if the professor's work is interesting to you. Having experience with machine learning research will definitely stand out on your resume when you apply to internships. The best part about this strategy is that professors usually won't expect you to have significant experience with ML, unlike companies which sometimes require years of experience for entry-level positions. As long as you're familiar with the fundamentals like gradient descent, linear regression, and feed-forward neural networks, you can learn the rest as it comes up. Plus, after a semester of working with a professor, you can typically start earning academic credit or get paid. My second recommendation is to acknowledge that you don't need a master's or PhD to land an ML internship or succeed in ML, but recognize that it does help. Some companies strongly prefer candidates that have a master's or PhD, while some companies are open to all candidates. Big tech companies tend to have stronger requirements, while smaller companies can be less strict. If your goal is to work on ML problems at a big tech company, your best bet may be to gain experience at a smaller company first and then transition to big tech. Essentially, experience can substitute for a degree. That brings me to my third recommendation, which is to be open to a wider range of roles. Don't limit yourself to internships or jobs that have machine learning in the title. First off, machine learning can mean something different at different companies, and software engineering or data science can be great gateways to machine learning. Software engineering, in my view, is about system design and building scalable systems. All of these principles transfer from software engineering to machine learning. Data science is all about extracting meaningful insights from data, and it goes without saying how central this is to ML. In short, if you want to land an ML internship in 2025, don't be afraid to pursue ML adjacent opportunities and simply view them as a stepping stone to your dream role. While we're talking about software engineering, my fourth recommendation is to pay attention to LeetCode and system design. Whether we like it or not, LeetCode doesn't seem to be going anywhere, and being familiar with data structures and algorithms is important for a wide range of roles in tech, not just software engineering. But your time could also be better spent on building ML projects or reading papers. So here's my recommendation. Do as little LeetCode as possible. Once you're at the point where you can solve medium-level problems, pay less attention to LeetCode and more attention to meaningful projects. After you reach a certain skill level of LeetCode, there's definitely diminishing returns. But there's also system design, process of building scalable software architectures. For junior positions, system design isn't as important, but it can definitely still come up in interviews. I had an interview at Zoox, an autonomous vehicle company in the Bay Area, where my interviews focused on system design instead of LeetCode. This is definitely rare, but if you want to cover all your bases, learn the basics of system design, and it won't hurt. My fifth and final recommendation is to read machine learning papers on a consistent basis. The goal here is consistency over quantity. Don't read a bunch of papers one week and then fall off for a month. Instead, set a reasonable target like 1 paper a week and commit to this. Over time, the work will compound and eventually pay off. But if you're new to ML, reading papers will be difficult. I can now read most papers within 30 minutes, but it would take me several hours when I was first getting started. The secret is to ignore most papers at first, focusing on the fundamental concepts instead. Algorithms like gradient descent, which are used to train models on datasets, or linear regression, an unsexy but powerful statistical model. And of course, feed-forward neural networks, which make use of gradient descent and linear regression. Once you deeply understand those topics, you'll be ready to jump into papers. My videos covering all 3 of those concepts are linked in the pinned comment, so let me know if you have any questions, and I'll see you soon.